Hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 3. Chapter is cash book, and as usual we are provided some transactions from a particular month. The month is mentioned over here is January. Let's look up the view of this question. There are two parts. One at left side you can see is from 1 to 5, and there is second part which is from 7 to 30, as you can see, and these are the transactions. And as earlier it has been described that this is raw data. We cannot conclude from this raw data. This is simple English paragraph which is provided by the book, and in practical what will happen, your organization will provide in the same way. Our raw data would be provided to an accountant, and it is responsibility of an accountant to convert this raw data into usable information. What usable information that is, we will discuss it, but right now we can see here this is information which is provided by the business. It may be possible some businesses will provide you vouchers, receipts, where detail of transaction would be written, date would be mentioned, how much amount if they are receiving they will mention that amount, how much amount is being paid they will mention, and what kind of that transaction is. It might be possible transaction is on credit, it may be credit sale, it may be credit purchase. So whatever that transaction is would be provided to you in raw data form. In simple English sentence would be given to you, and you as an accountant will convert that raw data into usable information. And what steps we will take here, you can see there are two parts of our solution. We are on target to convert that raw data into usable information. First way to convert that raw data is to make journal entries. JOURNAL. We will convert that raw data into journal entries. It is usable information. What will happen? We will separate expense side with income side, and we will separate asset and liability side, in which data will be properly organized. Like if you have several dresses, left part which is showing you journal, as we have described that we will take that raw data and will convert into journal entries. And what I was saying, journal entries will organize, like the example which I was willing to say, that if you have several dresses, some of them are party dresses, some of them are casual dresses. If you will put everything in the same cabin, so it might be a difficult process to recognize which cloth is placed over where. So if you will choose two different cabins where you will put the casual clothes on cabin number A and party dresses on cabin number B, so it would be an organized way with which you can be able to select your dress easily. Just like this example, what we will do, we will separate our assets from liabilities. In this way, the data would be organized. And second way is to separate expense from income. This way, assets and expense will be in at one side, and income liabilities would be at other sides. And when you will complete these journal entries, you will pick every entry present in journal and will post in cash book. In cash book there are again two sides, debit side and credit side. On debit side, you do have some ledgers, on credit side as well. So what you are doing, as you people have already understood the process of ledgers, what we will do over here, we will combine three different ledgers: discount, cash and bank. When you will combine these three ledgers, it means you can post all journal entries related to these three elements at the same time. Since we are combining three different ledgers, that is why it would be called triple column cash book. Sometime it may happen that only cash and bank will be present in your journal entries, so you will post cash at bank only. It means only two columns would be used, then it would be called two column cash book or double column cash book. And sometime it may happen that no entry is related to bank and discount, and only cash you can discover from journal entries. If there is only one column is being used, it would be called single column cash book. And how you will post, as there are two sides, debit and credit, when you will put amount on debit side and when you will put amount on credit side, this is a question. But answer is very simple. First step is you are related with only these three elements: discount, cash and bank, and you will see only these three elements in journal entries. Suppose if you are looking cash and cash is on debit side, what you will go? You will choose debit side of the cash book. That means journal and cash book is almost same if you are picking your transaction. If cash is written on debit side, there is some rule to decide to write cash on debit side in journal. We will follow those rules. Now the same rule would be applied if cash is debit on cash is present on debit side in journal. You will choose the same debit side in cash book as well. So sides of journal and cash book is same. Rule is what? Whatever is debit in journal, you will debit in cash book. So debit do debit, credit do credit. If cash is present on debit side of journal, you will post cash on debit side of cash book as well. So this is a small or simple introduction of our working. And when we are doing everything practically, obviously you will see what we are saying right now, how this would be applied in practical. These are raw data, a form of transaction given to us, and now we will start journalizing it. What word I'm using? Journalizing. Journal. Journal. We will be making journal. So let's start it. We have our first entry where it has been said started business with cash. When you will start your business with cash, here I would like to explain another concept. If I will ask you a question, you are working as accountant, for whom you are working? You are an employee of business or you are an employee of businessman. These are two different entities. If you are working in an organization, I'm asking a simple question. You are working for business organization or you are working for businessman. Now, if you have any different answer, please correct yourself. You are not an employee of businessman. You are not an employee of an individual human being. You are an employee of organization. So please keep it in mind whenever you want to know what is coming in or what is going out, what is increase or what is decrease. You will always see where you are. You will be working in business, not businessman. Please write down it or make a very hard mind that you are not employee of human being, you are not employee of businessman, you are an employee of business organization. So for organization, when it has been said started business with cash, so cash will be coming into the business no matter it is provided by the proprietor, and amount is going out when you will see proprietor, but amount is coming in when you are taking reference of your business. According to business point of view, cash is coming in, it means cash in hand is increasing. Cash in hand is your asset, asset is increasing, increase in asset should be debited. So you will debit cash, you will write cash on debit side, and amount which is provided by the proprietor to the business, because it is indirectly understood that this amount has been provided by the proprietor of the business. When any amount is provided by the proprietor, it is called, specifically a term is used, capital. Capital is the amount which is provided by the proprietor of the business. Now keep it in mind, you are employee of business. For business, this amount which is provided by the proprietor is liability of the business, as business would be questioned for the amount which is provided. Since capital is your liability and liability should be posted on credit side, so you will mention capital on credit side. Now see its date, that is 1, put date first 1, and now see how much amount is invested. You can see on first entry behind Okay, we can open it. This is your first entry, and you can see that amount is 20,000. So put 20,000 over here, and same amount you are supposed to write in credit side. In this way, your first entry has been completed. Now see what is second entry. It is saying opened an account with National Bank. So what you have done, you have opened an account. Now it's very simple thing how you will open account. Obviously you are paying cash and depositing that cash into the bank, with which what is happening, amount present in your bank account would be increased. Bank account is your asset, mean asset is increasing, increase in asset should be debited, so you are going to mention bank on debit side. How this amount has been deposited into the bank? Because business had paid, you have paid cash into the bank. It means cash is going out, and in other meaning your cash in hand is decreasing. Cash in hand is your asset, asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention cash on credit side. What date it was? 2. So you will mention date over here too. Dates are very important. No matter actual target is to put journal entries. This is your journal entry, and this is your second journal entry. Our main target is to put journal entry over here, but accessories like putting date, accessories like putting amount, and accessories like putting amount on the other side, no matter, it is indirectly indirect things, but believe me, these are more important than journal entries. Actually we are doing journal, but its accessories are more important. Without it you will not be able to make your cash book correct. So please be attentive to these things as well. Sometimes you are lazy, you will feel lazy to write down the dates, you will be lazy to write down the headings or lines, but believe me, without any good presentation you will not be able to make your question correct. Okay, now let's see what is amount of entry number 2. I can see open current account 8,000. So you are going to put 8,000 on debit side, and same amount you are going to put on credit side. This way your entry number 2 is completed. Now see what next entry is. It is entry number 3, and it is saying bought goods by check. So you have purchased goods and paid by check. Cash is not being paid. When you are buying goods, it means goods are coming in. One second, we should have been put date first, and this is 3. Okay. When you are buying good, it means goods are coming in. Goods are your near asset, mean asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be debited. So we were supposed to write goods over here, but in accounting we do not write goods, we write working in place of good. What working we are doing? We are buying, so you will mention purchase instead of goods here. Goods were written just for giving you the reference, as goods are coming in, goods are asset, asset increase should be debited, so that is why you had debited goods. Good was just a reference, it is unnecessary to be written over here. It is now not, it's now not needed goods to be written over here, you may erase it. When you have bought goods, obviously you are liable to pay, but how you are paying? It is mentioned in the entry, you have paid by check. When you will uh, provide check to the person from whom you are buying goods, that person, that account payable, the person is called account payable or creditor. Your creditor will go to your bank, will present that check, and will withdraw amount from your bank account. What will happen? Amount present in your bank account would be decreased. Bank is your asset, asset is decreased, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention name of bank on credit side. Entry number 3 is having 150 rupees, so you will be writing 150 on debit side, and same amount you are going to write on credit side. Entry number 3 is completed. Now let's see what is next for us. This is entry number 4, saying receive check from Rashid, allowed him discount. You have received check. Now here there must be a very good understanding. When you are receiving check and you haven't deposited, now underlined entry is in front of you, you can see that check has not been deposited into the bank. Please note down very carefully, if you haven't deposited your check into the bank, do not mention the name of your bank account. I'm repeating, if check is not deposited into the bank, do not mention name of bank account in your journal entry, as it is a matter of common sense. When check has not been deposited into the bank, you shouldn't be writing bank. So how we would be dealing it? Received a check from Rashid. Rashid is a person, its name. When you are receiving check, it means check is coming in, check is your near asset, asset is increasing, so you were supposed to write check over here as it's an asset. But in accounting, like goods, we do not write check, we write what we will do. We will consider this check as cash. But please make your mind, it is a temporary adjustment. It's not cash. In reality, it is just check. Since we do not write checks in accounting, so we are using the word cash temporarily. Actually, it's a check. And why we are using cash? Since the check has not been deposited into the bank, we cannot mention bank as well. So in place of bank, we are just writing cash temporarily. This is entry number 4. So you will mention here the date 4. And now from whom you have received this check? The person name is Rashid, as earlier it has been mentioned. Rashid was the person from whom amount was receivable. He was your account receivable. Account receivables are your asset. As you have received the received amount, no matter in form of cash or in form of check, but you have received. It means now amount is not receivable. He is no more your account receivable, no more your asset. Asset has been decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention the name of your account receivable, who was Rashid, on credit side. Though he is your account receivable, account receivables are your assets. Asset should be mentioned on debit side, but now he is not your asset. Asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you have named Rashid on credit side. How much amount of this check is? You can see it is 200. So you will mention 200 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. This way your entry number 4 is completed. Now let's see what is next for us. This is fifth entry, sold goods for cash. When you are selling goods, what will happen? If you are selling goods, goods are going out, goods are your near asset, asset is decreasing, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you were supposed to write goods over here as goods are going out due to sale. But as you know, we do not write goods in accounting, we write working in place of goods. What working we are doing? We are selling, so you will mention sale over here. Goods were written just to give you an understanding what is going out. It was just a reference. Now it is unnecessary to be written over here. You may erase it, or it's your option, you can write as well, but in brackets. But in accounting, goods are not to be mentioned over here. Better to erase it, so we are erasing it. Goods are sold for what? We should have received cash. Yes, after selling goods we have received cash. It means cash is coming in, with which cash in hand is increasing. Cash in hand is your asset, mean asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention cash on debit side. How much amount we are receiving? This is 40. So you will write 40 on your debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on your credit side, as credit and debit would always be equal. And we haven't mentioned the date. This is not good. Entry number 5 it was. So you will mention date, entry number 5. So half part has been completed. Now we will go to the right side and we'll see what is for us. We have now seventh entry. Seventh entry is saying paid into the bank cash. That means cash is deposited into the bank. First we will mention the date, and that date is 7. So just write 7 in date column. So you have deposited some cash into the bank. When you will paid cash into the bank, it means amount present in your bank account would be increased. Increase in bank account mean increase in asset. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention name of bank on debit side. How this amount has been increased? You have deposited cash. It means cash is going out. Cash is your near asset. Cash in hand is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention cash on credit side. Seventh entry we do have, and amount of seventh entry is 30. So you will put 30 rupees over here on debit side and 30 you are going to put on credit side. This way entry number 7 is completed. And what is next for us? After 7 we have 8. So we will put date first. It's 8th entry. Now 8th entry is saying paid Jameel by check and discount received. We have paid Jameel by check and discount is also involved. When you will pay someone by check, what will happen? The person to whom you are paying this check, he is your account payable or creditor. Creditor will go to your bank, will present that check to your bank, will withdraw amount from your bank. It means amount present in your bank account would be decreased. Decrease in bank account mean decrease in asset. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will write bank on credit side. And to whom you have paid this check was your account payable or creditor. The person name is Jameel. You have paid Jameel. Jameel was your account payable. He was your liability, but now you have paid your account payable, no matter through check or cash, but you have paid. It means now amount is not payable. He is no more your account payable, no more your liability. Liability decrease. Decrease in liability should be mentioned on debit side. So you are going to mention Jameel on debit side in spite of the fact that he was your account payable. Account payables are liability. Liabilities were supposed to be written on credit side. But what is happening? After payment, liability has been decreased. Decrease in liability should be mentioned on debit side. So you have named Jameel on debit side. Now, how much amount of check was paid Jameel by check? Amount of check here is mentioned 345. So you will write 345 in front of bank as check amount written on check is 345. So there will be a decrease in your bank account of 345. The other thing which is mentioned is you have received discount. When you are receiving discount, it means it is in your benefit, it is your income. Income should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention discount on credit side as you are receiving discount. So we have mentioned received beside discount. Discount receive income should be mentioned on credit side, so you have written discount on credit side. How much discount is? So I hope you can see that discount amount is 5. So you will mention 5 in front of discount as it is credited. So you will write amount on credit side. Here is the matter which needs your attention. Amount of Jameel has not been mentioned. But here we will apply a very simple accounting principle. Debit side and credit side would always be equal. Debit side is vacant and on credit side we do have two amounts. What we will do, we will add both amounts 345 and 5 and we will write on debit side, with which now you can see debit and credit side is equal, while actually amount of Jameel was not mentioned. So we have indirectly calculated by applying a simple accounting principle where debit and credit sides are always equal. So we had just equalized. Entry number 8 is completed. Now let's see what is next for us. It is entry number 9. What entry number 9 is saying to us? Paid carriage by check. So you have paid carriage by check. When you will pay carriage by check, obviously you are issuing a check to the person to whom you were required to pay carriage. He will go to your bank account. He will present that check. Amount present in your bank account would be withdrawn, with which your bank balance would be decreased. Bank balance is your asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention name of bank account on credit side. All right. Why you have issued this check? Because you were willing to pay carriage. As it is mentioned in your question, you have paid carriage by check. When you are paying carriage, it means it's an expense. Expenses should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention name of carriage on debit side. What number of this entry was? After 8, it was 9. So you will mention date 9. How much amount of ninth entry was? It is 180 and I'm very hopeful you can see 180 over here. So you will write 180 on debit side. Actually picture is not perfect. Amounts are molded because picture was taken from the book. Book was binded. So here there is a little problem but readable condition. Entry number 9 is completed. Now let's see what is next for us. After 9 it is 10. So you will put date first, and that is 10. See what 10th entry is saying. Draw from bank, drew from bank cash for office. So you have drawn from the bank cash for office use. Obviously, when you will draw amount from your bank, amount present in your bank account would be decreased. Decrease in bank account means decrease in asset. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention name of your bank account on credit side, because amount is drawn from bank with which your asset has been decreased. Now, second important matter is for what purpose you have draw this check. For office use. So you haven't mentioned the expense, but you have just drawn the cash. So what you will receive? Cash. It means cash in hand would be increased. Cash in hand is your asset. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention name of cash on debit side. Let's see how much cash is drawn in entry number 10, and that is 200. Hopefully you can see it is 200. So you are supposed to write 200 on debit side, and same amount you are going to write on credit side. This way entry number 10 is completed. Now see if entry number 30, what entry number 30 is saying. Paid wages by check. Again you are paying by check. When you are paying, no, first we will be required to mention date, and that is 30. So you are paying wages through check. When you are paying something through check, so what will happen? The person to whom you were needed to pay the wages, you have paid him through check. He will go to your bank account, will present that check to your bank branch, and will withdraw amount from your bank account, with which amount present in bank would be decreased. Decrease in bank account should be mentioned on credit side. So you are needed to mention bank on credit side, because amount is going to be drawn from the bank. For what purpose you have issued this check? You are paying wages. As you are paying wages are your expenses should be mentioned on debit side. So you are needed to point out wages on debit side. How much amount of wages have been paid? And it is 60 rupees, as you can see. So you will mention 60 on debit side, and you are supposed to write same amount 60 on credit side. This way your entry number 30 is also completed, and we have completed our journal entries for the question as well. 30 was the last entry. So in this way, this was the raw data which was provided to us, and we have converted this raw data at left side and raw data on your right side. We have picked this data and convert into journal. That means this is first way to convert raw data into usable information. Now everything is aligned in a proper way. We have aligned some part of these transaction on debit side, some part of these transaction on credit side according to our rules. As we have described, asset and expense when favorable, when assets are favorable, you would write on debit side. Expenses when are happening, you will write on debit side. Income and liabilities are to be written on credit side. So we have arranged it. Arrangement means data is organized. Now we can get usable information from this data, and proper usage of this data would be our next step. We will convert all of these journal entries into cash book. We will post transaction present in journal into cash book. But part A of this question, that means question number 3, part A is completed, and we will meet again for the solution, for B part solution, where we will post these journal entries into the cash book. We will meet again. Just take a short break and come back, and we will meet for the solution of B part of this question, which is cash book. Thank you very much for your time. Allah Hafiz for the time being.